Welcome to Crawl or No Crawl. This is Carolyn Holzman, and today is November 20th. This is a big week coming up, and for the first time, all new content is going to be published on the week of Thanksgiving and going through the Google Indexing API. I'm so excited. And so to celebrate, I'm going to make every day coming up this week. The week of Thanksgiving is going to be a test day, so I hope you tell all your friends to come watch. The goal here is to provide data gathered through SEO testing to serve as a backstop for us as SEOs and businesses who are publishing and updating and getting frustrated that nothing seems to move the needle or even can get indexed through Search Console. So since this is the week of Black Friday, I thought it would be interesting. Let me just show you this one here. This is the week of Black Friday. That maybe it might be nice to see what was happening a year ago. So let me go over here. Now, the big difference this year is that I'm not testing indexation like it was tested this time last year, which was going through the Search Console the way that Google instructs us to submit our sitemaps and use the submitting new content through Search Console through the request button. And as you can see in here, by this wave here, this Thursday, that was Thanksgiving. And in the old way of calculating SEMrush volatility, that was up in the 7s. So everybody was like aghast, right, that they were running an update the week of Thanksgiving. So I thought it might be not just interesting, but illuminating. Because we know SEMrush had to recalculate their weather tools, so we're not freaking out like we all were. But let's go back to this week. So what were the indexation results? Okay, so test pages are published with 2 test keywords. And the reason that there's 2, one of them is in simple to test for general rendering. The other is wrapped in JavaScript to test for complex rendering, which is a second pass that goes through after they crawl the HTML. And at that second pass, that's the only time that Google will recognize that word. That's the first time they've seen it all put together. And so in this research log, dates and times of launch and findability are noted. Now, this is a free resource. If you want to see it, you can go to here, AmericanWayMedia.com/index detector. You can also Google it. If you search for Google Index Detector, it's the first result. Now, like I say, I plan for this week coming up to be testing every day. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, I plan to do that through December 31st. We are still seeing some small evidence of rollbacks. Now, if you don't know what these are test pages that have previously been findable by either or both of their keywords and then become not findable. Please do not hit me with it's your search intent or your content sucks. No, duh. I mean, we're talking about a scientific test here. But this is normal. Normal in that when their bots are being tested out, the new mobile ones, they often seemingly roll back small sections and then have the bots go through and recall them again. And I think, they're testing to make sure the new one is working properly and picks up everything, if not more than the previous one. And so, yes, new content has been found today. That was Wednesday's test page, and it was found by both of its keywords. Now, if we look here, what these indicate are the Search Console updates. That used to be called the page coverage update, and the pattern has typically been every 3 days, and it is all of our sites, mine, yours, everyone's, is updated at the same time, and you don't have to take my word for it. Now, I pulled an example to show you. You look here, in Search Console, you go over here to indexing, and you hit the pages, and you look over here, last updated. If you look through your sites, if you go there, once you see it, check your other sites, and you will see the same date. Now, this is something we didn't know before this testing and research, but I kind of like to know these little things. So here are some of the questions for instance, going back over here, why do some pages take longer than others to be findable? And why don't they get served in order of their indexation dates? I went into detail on what I was seeing. That's last Friday. There'll be a link to that video in the description. But basically, if you'll see here, they're getting indexed on the days that they're submitted in that you can find them. But look at this one. This one on the 14th. The Search Console date was on the 18th. This is super, it's like you see enough things that kind of line up, and you draw lines and strings, and you sort of see like, oh, okay. So it was published on the 14th, findable on the 16th, but somehow got recrawled again on the 18th. So something, normally that would have been an update over here. So why is this late? So this is what I'm saying. Weird things start happening in Search Console, and it's hard sometimes to follow them. Sometimes it's hard to follow me. Okay, quickly, we'll look at the bots. These are the mobile bots here under the blue column. You see they're still working and tag teaming MobileBot 17 against 19. 19 crawls the HTML file, and 17 goes back and does a full render discovery and refresh render crawls. And so that's important. That's a distinction if you're doing new content or updating existing content. And we're looking at an overall lower amount of bot activity, specifically here, and I've highlighted this. This is what is interesting to me. Because basically the desktop bots are coming, but not the one that has a Chrome build, which can build a picture of your page. So I'm suspicious of this absence. And my first thought was maybe my site's too small. Like they're just missing out. Everybody else is getting crawled. Well, I happen to have access to several massive, large, nationwide sites, and it's a ridiculous size of a server log. And in all those tens of thousands of records, they too had 0 desktop Chrome build bots as well. So it's not explained away by throwing my little site under the bus. How can you use this information? Well, if you're pushing out new content, or your findable pages are disappearing, or your traffic drops off, oftentimes by the time you check your pages, those pages are back in there. So how do you know? How do you know what happened? How do you know what caused that? And data has shown us that Search Console only shows you indexed information. Every one of my test pages, when it's published, shows up in Search Console as indexed on the day they were published, not found and by their keywords until like 48 hours or longer. And I use fake keywords even in my real work, because without them, there's no way for me to know for certain that my new pages, updated pages, are being served. So I check for those keywords. Now, most people follow the general tracking in their Search Console. I suggest if you have high-value money pages, isolate them in your performance reports. It's eye-opening. Look for your orange lines, that's the average ranking, and confirm that they're solid, because sometimes they can be quite dotty. Stay tuned, subscribe, post any kind of comments or questions you have. Check out Confessions of an SEO. Sometimes I share tactics, but most of the time it's stories about what it's like to be an SEO in a world where only other SEOs know what we do. And we're kind of like Cassandra in Greek mythology. We're gifted with the sight of the future and cursed by the fact that no non-SEO believes us. Okay, well, and Forensic SEO training starts January 19th. If you're interested in finding out what that is, go to forensicseotraining.com and use the form. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.